And I do believe we are live. Happy Friday. Welcome into today's live coffee chat and Q&A. We are going to be discussing all things time management mastery for coaches, course creators, and online service providers. So if you are excited about that, you're excited to be here, go ahead and drop me some love on this live wherever you're tuning in from. Go ahead and let me know whether you are tuning in from the YouTube channel over on Shannon Martel on YouTube or on our Facebook group community, the Course Creator Collective, or on my business page on Shannon Martel. We are streaming live from StreamYard. So wherever you are joining us from, a big warm welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. So as you're just joining in, I'm just going to check and make sure that everything is working. Let me know if you can hear the audio really quickly. I'd appreciate that. And I'll check it here on my phone just as you're getting. Okay, I think it's working good. Yay. I love it when the tech works out. I recently got a new computer, so I've been going through all of the trial and error and getting all of the software connected and working properly. And I noticed my microphone when I did the training earlier this week on time management mastery, my microphone was not working properly. So I apologize for any sound quality issues that you may have experienced as you were listening to that. So anyway, today I thought we could spend some time going through, if you didn't catch it, it's linked actually down below in the description box. I did part 1 of a 3-part mini series on time management mastery for coaches, course creators, and service providers. So we went in, it's a 3-piece process or system, which is first step is prioritizing. So really looking at what tasks you have, what projects you backing up, what goals you have, what projects that you have in place to be able to implement all of those goals and to execute on those goals, and then breaking those bigger projects down into the actual task. And then the next step would be to then plan. So that will be in our training coming up next week, and stay tuned for details on the times for that. But that's where we actually take everything that we have prioritized, identifying what our goals are, what our tasks are, our projects are, what our tasks are, and then prioritizing that into, we looked at the Eisenhower matrix and being able to prioritize that into what's urgent, not urgent, what's important, not important, what needs to be done by you, and what those most important tasks are, what can be scheduled, what can be delegated, and what can be eliminated. So we went through all of that in a lot of depth through part 1 of the 3-part mini series. And then next week, we will be diving into then how to go ahead and plan all of that, making sure that you're allocating enough time to actually spend the adequate time to be able to get these particular tasks and bigger projects done. And then once you really understand your time, where your time's going, and really how to master that time, the 3rd step in that is actually producing. So it's prioritize, plan, and produce so you can actually get results, the results that you desire as an online coach, course creator, or service provider. So again, if you didn't get a chance to look through that training, it is linked in the description box below wherever you're tuning in from. So go ahead and take a look at that. And any questions that you have, let me just get the chat up here. Any questions that you have, go ahead and drop those below as we're going along. And I'll make sure to answer those questions for you live here. Or if it's on the replay, I can get it on, answer your questions on the replay. And where'd my chats go? Comments, there we go. So I hope you guys are having a good week. I would love to know what you're working on, and specifically if you have any particular projects or tasks that you kind of want to go through today. I have received in some questions that I'm going to go over some Q&A for you as well. But if you, again, have any questions while we're going through live, go ahead and drop those. So one of the first questions I got is, how do I balance as a coach or course creator? That's who specifically I help. And if I didn't introduce myself, my name is Shannon Martel, and I am a business coach and online course creator. And I help coaches, consultants, course creators, and service providers to be able to turn your expertise into profitable and sustainable online coaches and online coaching programs and courses with ease. So a little bit about my background. I was in corporate for over 20 years. I think it was about 23 and a half years, and kind of grew up through the banking system, grew through the corporate ladder, and was in management for the bulk of my career, managing anywhere from a region of branches to individual branches to clusters of branches. It kind of changed depending on what the needs were for the banking initiatives. But I handled everything from sales, marketing, operations, scheduling. I was in charge of scheduling for our region for quite some time. So I do have a lot of expertise when it comes to scheduling. Scheduling for one person is nothing like scheduling for an entire West Coast of Florida banking center. So that's a pretty interesting project. Not one that I wanted to do forever, for sure. But one of the things I really, really loved working with teams was really helping my team step into their expertise and really shine, because that's where you shine, right? When you're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about it and that you're well compensated about it, it just creates this whole new energy and really becomes like a symphony, right? It's like having an orchestra and everybody's playing their particular musical instrument. When you get everybody playing together, you create a symphony. And that's how that felt in what I was doing. And one of my favorite part of my career was when I was managing the Longboat Key office in Florida, where we took an office that was ready to have the doors closed because they were underperforming to being one of the top performers in the state of Florida. And really, I attribute that success to really pairing up people with the right task, the right jobs, the right positions, and what they were really motivated by, inspired by, and then really helping those individuals be able to build their development plans so they could continue to improve and grow in their positions. So through that, I knew I always wanted to do something more with life and help people in a larger way, on a grander scale. But I also, because I was a very high performer, that led me to burnout. And I developed a lot of chronic illness, which eventually, long story, but it eventually led to having to go out on disability for a period of time to really heal and reclaim my health. And it was during that time frame that I decided that it was time to do something different. So at that point, that's when I really started looking into what I really wanted to do when I grew up. And I hired my first business coach, and that was back in 2019. And I launched my first coaching program. So in the beginning, I worked with individual coaches on a one-on-one capacity. And once I really developed my systems and practices, then I moved to group coaching. So I've been doing that since 2019, and I really, really love it, and am very, very passionate about helping others monetize their expertise and build out your online coaching programs and online courses. So in that respect, one of the things that I find a lot of coaches and course creators really, really struggling with, especially if you are managing or juggling a 9 to 5, maybe you're still in corporate. A lot of you, I know in the Course Creator Collective, which is our private Facebook group, a lot of you are in that beginning stage of just building your business, or maybe you just have that concept or that course idea and you haven't launched yet. So you're trying to look at, like, how do I balance time? How do I, manage working my job, like my 9 to 5 all day? A lot of you have children, so you're still trying to manage children and families and building a business at the same time. Look, I get it. I was in your shoes. I get it. And I know how challenging it can be. In fact, that's one of the reasons I opted to invest in a business coach rather than going back to school and in my 40s and getting a college degree in marketing and sales. I knew that path was not going to be the best path for me personally, or for my family to be, already juggling a 50, 60 hour job a week, plus the thought of trying to go to school on top of it just was not a good solution for me at the time. So hiring a business coach absolutely was for me because it really shortcut that learning curve. And then I was able to do the online learning on my own time and implement. So I know that from my students as well, that is really part of what you are challenged with, is being able to manage that. Hang on just a second, I just lost my screen. Be able to manage your time and also be able to implement your, building your online course or coaching program and serving clients as well at the same time. So that's the intention and the purpose behind this training today is, or this mini series that I'm bringing you, is really diving into that, because it's not necessarily that we don't have enough time. I mean, we could probably, and let me know if this is you can raise your hand, like know somebody around you that is just can like run circles around you. I know there's people in my life that can run circles around me, and I just don't know how they get it all done. But and then there's other people, like I have to work at a different pace. Like because I am recovering from chronic health issues, I really have to be mindful of my energy levels, and making sure that I'm really having that balanced life. And because I can get into overdrive, like I can work all of the hours and push and push and push. But at that point, when I did that, it was at a sacrifice of my health and a sacrifice of my family. And that's not how I choose to live or work anymore. So that's why I developed the system. So one of the questions I get is, how do I balance content creation with other business tasks without feeling overwhelmed? And the most important thing that I connect or discuss with my students is making sure that you're truly, and you can look at the training here, but you're truly, hang on just a second, I'll pull these slides up. Let me grab my slides real quick. There we go. That you're truly going through, this is the training that we went through the other day, and we talked about the prioritizing, but you really want to make sure that you are pulling out that training. I'm sorry, that you're pulling out that to-do list. So for me, I like to pull out a piece of paper and just like brain dump. That's the first step, because we can, especially as business owners and as entrepreneurs, parents, juggling 9-to-5s, all of these things, we can have all of this stuff in our head. And that's something I can always tell, like if a headache is triggering for me, I have experienced a lot of history of chronic migraines. And part of the reason or the issue kind of that triggers that is when I'm holding too much in my head, right? And let me know if this is you, but it's like, all of the things you've got to do. It's all in your head. It takes up a lot of energy and space, but it causes a lot of anxiety and overwhelm when it's all in your head, right? Because you can't really get those, how do you say, I want to say third party, the analytical brain of your mind, like stepping outside and taking a look, like you're looking from the inside. It's kind of like having tunnel vision. So you want to get it out all on paper so you can really look at it through another lens to really understand what it is that you have to do, and then start to put in a process where you're organizing it and identifying what your priorities are. So the first step is really brain dump it all. And when you're in a season too, like holidays coming up and so forth, then you have a whole another added layer of responsibility and things that you need to take care of. Maybe you have a lot of birthdays. I know, in the month of November, December, for me, we have a lot of birthdays, launching an online course, we have Christmas, like you have a lot of different things and responsibilities. Maybe you're hosting a lot of parties. So there's a lot in there, right? And then you have your normal, like, things that you need to take care of the house and, other things that come up. Like for me, our dog got hurt yesterday or the day before yesterday. So we had to do an emergency trip to the vet, and she isn't able to walk, and it's a whole nother story. But so there's a lot of extra care, things like that come in with that. So the first thing you want to do, and what we talked about, is really brain dumping all of this and then going through the Eisenhower matrix. And the Eisenhower matrix for you will then help you really understand what's important, what needs to be done right now, what you can schedule, what you can delegate. So maybe you have another family member in your household that can take on some tasks. Maybe you have a business partner. Maybe you can delegate and hire a service provider and delegate some of your tasks to, whether it's in your business or it is in your household. Maybe it's helping with lawn care, or maybe it's like, for me, I use services like grocery delivery services. So like Instacart or your Walmart apps, things like that, that you can place all your online ordering. Amazon's a big one. You can do all your online ordering through like your phone, and then you can have all of that delivered to you. And that alone saves you hours and hours of time each week, not having to go out and take care of this particular task for you. So you really, really want to make sure that you understand what needs to be done by you and this most urgent, what needs to be scheduled because it's not urgent for today, what you can delegate. And then the fourth quadrant in the Eisenhower matrix is what you can eliminate. So getting some of those things out and having a system will help you on a day-to-day basis. Like, I do this every day. Like, I do it for the week, but then I also do it for the day to really make sure that what I'm working on today is truly the tasks that are the revenue generating task. And let me know, as a coach or a course creator, let me know what you consider revenue generating task. And I'll just check the comments below. What you consider revenue generating task in your business. While you're doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and tag this in the group as well. Just one second. Did it go? I don't know if it did or not. Hang on, no, I'm stuck in it. Trying to watch out for your comments on my phone as well here. Okay. I don't think it did. Hang on. Okay. So when you're looking at it as an online coach or course creator, service provider, some of your top revenue generating tasks are going to be your product development, your content creation, and your lead generation activities. So anything to do with lead generation or sales, maybe it's prioritizing having conversations and building relationships in the DMs. Maybe it's working on your lead magnet funnel. So maybe you're building like lead magnet funnels and possibly running Facebook ads to that so you can generate some traffic. So traffic generation is a big thing. Maybe you are connecting in the DMs and building those relationships in the DMs. Maybe you're booking sales calls if that's how you choose to generate sales in your business. Those are the things that are really going to be your revenue generating activities in your business versus like particularly working on your website or working on, creating graphics, things like that. Those things, while important, as far as your overall branding and so forth, it's not necessarily what your ideal client is really caring about that's going to help you generate leads and sales into your business. So really, really looking at those things, as well as like, how do you blend those personal tasks in with, making sure you're prioritizing not just your business, but that you're also prioritizing your relationships and you're prioritizing your health and you're having a well-balanced lifestyle, right? Because that's why you became an entrepreneur to begin with, is because you want freedom. You want time freedom, you want financial freedom, you want location freedom. So you don't want to essentially just be trading your 9 to 5 for another 9 to 5 by working harder and working more in your business. So we want to work smarter. So go ahead and making sure you're starting with understanding what your action steps are and then prioritizing those. So then once we understand what those priorities are, then we can also take a look at like, okay, we've got out of our, maybe 10 items, Then we've identified what is most important, what can be scheduled, what can be delegated, and what can be eliminated. And then we can look at what's left and what needs to be done today. What are the top 3 things to be done today? And in the presentation, we really got into, like, once we understand what we're working on, we really got into looking at what to be working on first. So, and this is more in relation to energy management. So if, for example, you're a morning person, we talked about like how we're maybe working on product development and content creation, those more creative thinking tasks are better aligned for in the morning when you have a lot more energy. And then maybe doing some of your sales calls, things like that, you could then, put in the afternoon in your admin task. You could put those in the afternoon. Or maybe, like for instance, going live or something like that. Like maybe you need to do it when your energy levels are really, really high, because it takes a lot of energy out of you to be able to deliver that. So kind of looking at what works best for you is really important. It's not a one size fits all. It's not like necessarily, what works for one person is going to work for another. You need to do what works best for you and what works best for you and your family, and being able to show up with the best energy for your clients as well. So that will really, really help you. Another question I get is, as an entrepreneur, how can I manage administrative tasks more efficiently? So this is where you're going to really want to rely heavily on automation and delegate, again, where possible. So doing an audit inside your business, and this is something, if you want to, I offer every once in a while, I offer free 30-minute strategy sessions where we can take a deep dive and do an audit in your business, see what's working, what's not working, and it can give you some recommendations on how to improve. But one of the things I would say is really having an automated lead generation system in your business is essential. You really need to be generating new leads in your business every single day to be able to continue to build your audience, to generate leads and generate sales. You've got to get new eyes on your offers. And you need not just eyes on your offers, but you need to get the right eyes on your offers. So having a lead system in place that's automated is crucial for you to be able to do this. So the way I prefer, I have a mix of organic lead generation systems and also paid traffic generation systems. And what I mean by that is using like an email autoresponder for one. So like if you take a look at your lead magnet, for instance, so having a lead magnet, something that you give high quality, high value in exchange for an email address to be able to generate leads is really key. So having that automated email system to be able to help you deliver that lead magnet and then follow up with a nurture system to be able to nurture to convert your ideal clients is really, really key, and takes a lot of that heavy lifting off of you. And when you back that up with either you can promote it in a Facebook group where promotion is allowed, or B, you can run some paid traffic to it. So if you have something running on autopilot every day, you're constantly generating leads on a daily basis. So for example, let me see if I have this pulled up here. Well, we don't want to dive into that. Let me see here. We can do another training on that. That'll get us too much off topic. But what I was going to show you is, MailerLite is a really great software provider tool that you can use in your business that is free, that you can generate up to 1,000 leads through MailerLite without having to invest any money in like a monthly service. So you could, one, create your lead magnet, and then two, create like MailerLite to be able to deliver that lead magnet and then continue to nurture your clients or your leads. And then the other thing I would recommend is having a calendar system in place as well that will help you with that booking. So kind of looking at these things like your booking. So, whether again, you are including this link through all your live trainings, through your lead magnet email nurture delivery, through dropping the link in Facebook groups, wherever you're doing your lead generation. If you have that Calendly link that you can share with your leads, that your leads can then automatically go to your calendar system, and then they can book in. So it eliminates this back and forth conversation. And as well, you can use Calendly for free too. So that's a really great tool for you to be able to set up in your business. And you can create some pre-join questions too. Oh, I lost my camera. Oops. Where did my camera go? Hang on. Here we go. Sorry about that. I went to show you something and lost my camera. So you can use the Calendly as well to be able to set that up. And then you can set up some application questions as well to help further qualify your leads that are coming in, to make sure that they're the right fit for you and you're the right fit for them before having that, spending that time with them on a Zoom call. So definitely, looking at the tech that you have in your business, automate as much as possible. Another thing that I teach inside Called to Serve is having like message flows and content templates set up for you as well, so you can automate even your content and your conversation flows as much as possible. Like, not necessarily copying it word for word, but those things that that are going to get you from cold to close, those conversations, and knowing the top objections, things like that you want to be able to overcome with your leads as you're taking them through your offers. You want to have kind of that workflow set up to save you time. Another thing that I also utilize in my business and teach my students to use is either using a tool like a project management tool like Trello or Asana. And for an example, with a lead flow with Trello or Asana, you can set up a lead sales system. So it's kind of like your CRM, where you're tracking all of your leads that are coming in and your conversations that you're having with them. So it helps you to, one, schedule that follow-up, and then two, kind of keep in track of where your leads are in their sales cycle. So definitely having a place to understand, a tool for being able to schedule your appointments, to schedule your email responses, any common queries, also having all your links available. You can use Trello for that too. Google Drive is a great resource as well, to having all of your quick links available to all of your lead magnets, your call schedule, all of the things that you're going to be sharing on a regular basis. That is great for that as well. So another question, I hope this is helpful so far. If you have any questions as we're going along, go ahead and drop those down below, and then I will be happy to give you some feedback as we're going along. Just check the group. Okay. Have a drink. So another question I got are, what strategies can I use to avoid burnout while I'm trying to grow my coaching business? So kind of what we were talking about with really being mindful of your energy levels, I can't stress enough how important that is, especially if you have ever experienced burnout, or, a near burnout. Or I also talk about a lot of signs that, maybe you are in the stages of burnout, but, who even knows what that means? If you've never had it before, to me, I think, one of the struggles that I actually, was challenged with when I was in my corporate role was admitting that, right? Because we think we can do it all, as mamas, as business owners, as, leaders of our household and our family, you think you can do it all. And, for me, and I know a lot of my clients, are this way too, or have this way too, experience too, but it seems to be that the things that get sacrificed the most when it comes to trying to juggle all of the things is your health. And what do I mean by that? So one of the first things, and it's still a habit that, to be quite honest, I am working to to eliminate, to break the bad habit is the sacrificing your sleep. So kind of let me walk you through what like happens to me. And I know it happens to a lot of my clients is that, I used to never be a night person. But when you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do as much as I love what I do and my clients love it, you're excited about it, right? And so what can happen is that I get in this habit of like, well, I'm just going to check one thing. So it's like the day is gone, I've got all of my tasks done, and it gets to the end of the night, I've showered, all of that kind of stuff, and settle in for bed, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to check this one thing. So I start to check this one thing, and that one thing leads to another and leads to another. Before I know it, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking, well, it's okay because like, 24 hours is 24 hours. My day can start whenever, right? Well, that's the biggest myth of all. Our bodies have a natural cadence, right? A natural rhythm, and that it's used to. And so even though you might think, well, I can sleep in, your body doesn't necessarily agree with that. And also what happens is because you've been working your brain and the blue light exposure and all of the things, your serotonin levels are up, like, and you can't go to sleep. So you get really, really poor sleep. And maybe a night or two of that isn't so bad, but over time, as you keep sacrificing your sleep, it's going to really, it's like having this bucket, right? So, or your gas tank. Like if your gas tank is full, you get a good night, 7-8 hours of sleep a night, gas tank's full, all systems are firing how they're supposed to because it's getting enough fuel. But when the gas tank is depleted and it's only, got 20% or 40% of its fuel, the sleep, then you're going to run out of steam a lot quicker and things aren't going to function like they're supposed to. So you see more brain fog, more headaches, more, sleepiness, all of these things, like you just aren't as productive. So really looking at that and really setting some good, strong boundaries with yourself and helping to make sure that you are, again, like I said, this is out of all the habits that I've been able to really cultivate, this was probably the biggest one for me because I do get so excited and passionate about what I'm working on. And a lot of those creative ideas come at night. And the reason it comes at night is because you're in that REM stage, like where your body, like it's kind of like when you first wake up or you first go to sleep, that's when that creative brain is turned on. So being really mindful of that, and also making sure that you're really getting in adequate nutrition, adequate hydration, and movement is really key. And a meditation practice, I would say too. So some things that I do in my business that really, and throughout my day, that really helps is I use like the Pomodoro technique. And on my phone, it's called Focus Keeper. It's an app that basically works on the Pomodoro method. And that is like a 25-minute work cycle and then a 5-minute break. So my goal, and I got one of those like Fitbits or Apple Watch or a tracker, so that tracks your steps, and really giving yourself a goal for an amount of steps a day. Because working at a desk, you're sitting a lot, and that can lead to fatigue and body aches and things like that. So by setting that Pomodoro timer, or the cube timer is another really good one. You can pick this up on Amazon, and it's got different times that you can set it for. But you can set that as well, and that will help you to actually get up. So pay attention to when the alarm goes off, and when the alarm goes off, get up, go get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, throw in a load of laundry, whatever it is that helps you just get moving. And I promise you, these active breaks, in fact, I would love to hear feedback from you, these active breaks and how they help you. And for me, I find that, if I feel stuck on something, or, I'm just really challenged with something that's taking me a lot longer, and I kind of get in this feeling of frustration, if I go do that active break and walk around, chances are while I'm getting the water or doing the thing, the answer comes to me. So you just really getting moving, getting that oxygen going, the blood pumping, and just shifting your energy really helps to open up that creative brain again to where you can think. And then the other thing I would say is really putting in a hard stop, if at all you can, to having a true work day. So that's the other thing. Like as an entrepreneur, it's really great because you can set your own hours. You can work whenever you feel like it, but don't let that drag in, and that, what could have been 3 hours worth of work now be a 10-hour work day. Try to give yourself some sense of normalcy where you have a regular work hours, and then you have regular time off. It's really, really key to preventing burnout. So you get some downtime, you spend some quality time with your family and friends to get that, time really nurturing those relationships is going to be really key for you. And you're going to feel more excited and energized to be able to come back to your business. So you don't feel like then the business again, like becomes a glorified 9 to 5 versus building your dream. So that I think is that just being really mindful of the energy levels, creating that schedule that works for you, focusing on working on those when you have higher energy, working on those higher energy tasks. When your energy is lower, what are some things that you can do that don't take as much decision making and brain power for you to be able to do those in the times that are the lower energy periods? That will really, really help you. And then another question I got was, how can I better plan my week to ensure I'm making progress on long-term goals? So using this weekly planning system, going back, and if you didn't grab, let me see if I can show that to you. Can share. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can see that. Let me see. Hmm. Share screen. Hang on. Here we go. There we go. So if you haven't grabbed my 3 simple time management strategies for coaches and course creators, that is also going to be linked here for you down below. And you can go through that, and it goes along with the presentation to, you'll see step 1 again is prioritize, step 2 is plan, and step 3 is produce. So it goes with my actual course that I have, that I've gone ahead and given it to you for free to help you go ahead and implement this strategy. But this is where we're talking about that we're going to really map out these long-term goals. So you want to, let me just get rid of this. So you want to, again, like understand what your goals are. So kind of, having 3 or 4 goals is really enough. You can look at, like, maybe you have a goal in the wealth category. So this is going to be related to your business. So are you trying to, do you want to launch a new online course or coaching program in 2024? Or perhaps you want to launch an online course or program in December. You can truly be able to go from concept to clients within a 30-day period and get your first course out there. Maybe in the category 2, maybe this is something that is going to be related to your family, or relationships. And maybe number 3 is something that's related to your health. Maybe number 4 is something that's related to your hobbies. But it all starts with having that goal. And then kind of looking at the training that we did earlier this week goes more in depth on how to really understand what those milestones are. And the example I gave you is related to building an online course. So each week, looking at what those big overarching milestones are that help you know that you're making progress towards achieving your ultimate goal. It's really important to be clear on that. And then having a deadline. So this is another essential ingredient you want to make sure that you have in your overall plan to achieve your goals, because you want to make sure that there's an end date. Because if there's not an end date, it's going to take you much longer, if you even get it done at all, because there's no sense of urgency. And having that time pressure aligned to your long-term goals or your short-term goals makes all of the difference. The saying goes, it takes as long as we allow ourselves the time to do it. So if you don't have a deadline at all, that's why the bucket feels so big. Like kind of go into that vacation mode, thinking of like when I'm in vacation mode, I have 10 things on my list, it gets done because you gave yourself a deadline. So apply that to your work as well, can be very, very helpful. So you have that for your long-term goals. Then you want to look at what your short-term goals are. So short-term goals the long-term is more like, looking at 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Short-term goals could be like, what do I want my next 90 days to look like, or my next 30 days? All of my students are different on how they want to plan and how big of a period of time that they want to look at. And then kind of looking at, understanding what the problems are. What are our time thieves? Where are you wasting time? Where and why do you think that you have an issue with that? And again, you can refer back to the training for more details on that. So making sure the next step is really prioritizing. So once we have that, understand what our goals are and our milestones are, then we want to break those down into what are the task itself that it takes to be able to reach that milestone, then to reach that particular goal. So it's like everything is reverse engineered from what our overarching goal is all the way down to the task. So if you haven't grabbed that, go ahead and grab that, and that will really help you to be able to start working through each of those steps and getting better. And then the next step then would be then to plan. So it's like now we understand what the goals are, the projects are, and the tasks are. Now we've got to put some time to it. We really need to allocate the time, and time blocking is what I recommend doing this year. So for instance, if like Monday, you could have a theme day of content creation and marketing. So maybe that's what you're working on Monday. Tuesdays and Thursday, I typically have for my clients in community days where I'm really focusing on all my client calls, my coaching programs, and then my community development. Then you could on Wednesday, you could have product development where you're really working on building out your modules and your lessons or your lead magnets, things like that, where you need to be able to those deliverables, those tangible deliverables for your clients and for your community. So working on that. And then Friday, you could have allocated as a theme day. It's like working on, your finances, your education, your admin, your tech, so kind of like that catch all to the end of the week. So once you've got all of your big things done, you could have that Friday as a catch all, and then helping you to further plan out then for the following week and the next sprint. So, having theme days is really helpful. And then breaking that down to having sprints. I like to work in 90-minute sprints to where I'm working on one particular block of task. So if I'm working on content for 90 minutes, I'm working on community outreach for 90 minutes, I'm working on product development for 90 minutes. Having those three, even if you just did 90-minute work blocks like that, you are going to far exceed the productivity and what you've been able to do if you really get focused in making sure that you're focusing on one particular bucket. You're not multitasking. You're really clear on what the project is, what the task is, basically what your assignment is for that particular work block, and that you are completing those tasks. Know your definition of done, and you're completing those tasks during that allotted period. So that will really help you to make sure that you are achieving your long-term goals, your short-term goals. And then again, the other question I got was on what are some effective time management tools or apps that I can use as a course creator or a coach. I would say number one is Google Drive, really having everything, slow down a minute. Having a really good filing system is going to be key to your long-term success as an online coach or course creator. You want to be able to have a system in place where you are filing all of, everything from your courses to your resources to all of the tools, like everything in your business. You want to have a concrete file structure in your business to be able to help you put your hands on things quickly, especially again, as your body of work grows, you're going to have so many more things. So you want to be able to really have that system and structure in place. And that's something that as well. I don't know how much you use GPT, but that's something that you can, Google or Chat GPT in there to ask like how to set up a file system or a file structure. It will give you some labeling ideas essentially for the different folders and subfolders to be able to set up in your business. So I also have a cheat sheet for that too. So if that's something that you would like me to share with you, let me know and I'll send that to you. So tools like that. And then I would say having either Trello or Asana set up in your business. I started on Trello and then with my team, I moved to Asana. But either one, they both work really wonderfully. And you can use that for everything from having your launch system set up there. So what your daily tasks are throughout your course launch, to having your content system. So everything that's all your pre-launch content and your launch content can go on its own board. You can have your lead system, as I mentioned earlier, that can be in its own Asana or Trello board to help you manage those systems. And then obviously your scheduling system, having that set up so you know every task that you're working on, and it collaborates with your Google Calendar. So it's a beautiful system when you have that set up in place. And then, it's a bit of, work and time to set it up initially, but once you have it set up, then you can just keep repeating that. Especially when you have those content systems and so forth set up on there, because that's an asset that you're building out in your business. And then you can continue to reuse that, tweak it, make it better, and reuse that every time that you launch your next offer. So the last question, we will go where we at for time, 46 minutes. The last question I wanted to address was, how do I handle unexpected tasks or emergencies without derailing your entire schedule? One thing I would say is, and I was guilty of this myself, is not including any buffer time in my schedule. So, as a mom, as a business owner, significant other, that there are going to be things, as a pet owner, there are going to be things that come up in your schedule that aren't planned for, that, we can't plan everything. We can't foresee everything, every event that's going to come up. You're going to get sick. Your kids are going to get sick. Your pets are going to get sick. You're going to have other appointments and things, that come up that weren't part of your schedule. So the number one thing you can do to help manage that as those different things come up is including some buffer time in your schedule. So not having every minute of every day planned is really important. If you know that, sometimes, you do have headaches or you do have days that you just don't feel as well, and that, your productivity is low, or, not even on the negative side of it, maybe you want to just go ahead and plan in some extra days. Oh, hey, Annette, how are you? So good to see you. I just saw that pop up. That you have some days that you just want to plan. Maybe you want a spa day, or you want to go to, lunch with a friend or a family member or something like that. Build in that buffer time for you. Again, you're building this business for a reason. You're building it for the freedom of being able to create your own schedule and live the life that you truly desire. Build in a beautiful schedule. Really be intentional about what and how you're spending your time. And then also, when those things do come up, if you have the system in place where you are prioritizing your planning and your producing, you're using the Eisenhower matrix, you can go back and look at what's urgent, what can be scheduled, what can be delegated, and what can be eliminated. And you can reassess. And that's why I suggest giving yourself like that 30-minute block or 25-minute block in the morning before you get started to really make sure that you're working on the most important things today. Like, what are your top, I call them MITs, your most important task. What are the top most important tasks? And what was important yesterday may change today. So relook at that, make sure that plan is solid and workable for you, feels good, and is knowing that every step you're taking is one step closer towards realizing your vision. Know that those things that you're working in are paying into that vision and those goals that you desire for your business, for your family, for your life. And then just keep taking one step at a time. So by having those buffer days or those buffer times, looking at that, and then look at those things that you didn't get to and look to see where you can move them. One, are they still essential? Do you need to do them, or do they need to be done by you? And if they do need to be done by you, look at moving them. And, maybe you do need to move it into another time that you had off. Maybe it's a Saturday and it gets moved, or it just gets pushed to the following week or so forth. But that task isn't, it's still there. It still can be done. The other thing I would say is look at sometimes, especially as high achievers, we can also be perfectionists. So look at if you just showed up and you gave it all, does it need to be pretty? You know what I mean? A lot of times we can get stuck in the perfectionism and trying to perfect everything and make it perfect. What if you just, gave it your all, you tried your best, but you didn't, I don't know why I say that. The thing that's coming to mind is kind of thinking of a piece of content. Maybe you were planning to make this incredible, detailed presentation to go along with it. Our clients really don't care about the presentation. They care about the value, right? They care about the value. So if you were planning to do that, is that really what's going to make the difference? Or is having a conversation with them and really helping to make sure that you're supporting your client, answering their questions, helping them get the shift that they need? That's what's important. It's not necessarily the graphic or the presentation. So does that make sense? So looking at how can you think about it differently? How can you do it? How can you work quicker? How can you eliminate some of the things that are just fluff and not necessarily the, needle movers? And how can you still get the task done? So that would be what I would recommend with that too, and that I would find helpful for you. So those are the top questions. Again, if you have any other questions that we haven't gone over today that are in step, one, with really understanding what our tasks are, prioritizing, grab this action guide here that will help you be able to prioritize that. And then on our next training, we're going to go into where we're really, planning this out. Again, here's that to-do list from the biggest income impact, revenue generating activities. What are those most important things? If you did anything else in your day, what are the revenue generating activities that really count, that really help you to get traffic, generate leads, and make sales and deliver results to your client and help them get that transformation? That's essentially where you want to be focusing on your time. And then this third step is in the producing of it. So really looking at what do we do? What did we get done? Analyzing our time, and then helping us to be able to improve our systems. So if you haven't grabbed that, go ahead and grab it. It is linked in the comments down below for you. And then again, if you have any questions, feel free to bring those to the Course Creator Collective, which is our private Facebook group. And also, if you want to dive deeper with me and you are ready to get some support into being able to launch, grow, and scale your online course or coaching business in 2023 or 2024, go ahead and send me a DM. I would be happy to jump on a call with you to further explore how we could work together, or just answer some questions for you in general. But that's what it really takes, being intentional with your time and making the time count for you. And ultimately remembering that you deserve to feel good. You deserve to have a life full of freedom and fun, family and friends, doing the work that you love to do and that you were called to do, called to serve, the name of the program that I created. That's what you're here for, right? And you want to enjoy every step along the way. So thank you so much for joining me today. There's other freebies down and below for you to be able to grab too. There is I keep talking about course creation. There is a free course creation planner in the comments below for you too. So be sure to grab that if you could use some support with that. And thank you again so much for joining me. I love you all, and I will see you soon on the next live. Bye for now.